Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, House Bill 1576 eliminates binding arbitration on uniform employees. Happy to answer questions.
Representative Inman, you recognize for a question on the bill.
Representative Martin, as I understand it currently, the voters of any of the towns that currently have collective bargaining in their communities will have a right to reject or accept any collective bargaining agreement that is signed off on, I guess, by an arbitrator. Is that not correct?
Only if the governing body sends it to a vote of the people.
Representative Inman for a follow-up.
So the only way that the citizens of the community will not have a voice, or excuse me, will not have a vote on the collective bargaining agreement will be if the people they elected choose not to send it to their vote, right?
Well, I think probably part of your question actually gets to the point. The good part about it is, with this bill, is that they continue to have a voice. Right now, their voice is rather limited because of the arbitration, the binding arbitration. With this bill, the voice of the people will be heard because their elected officials that they elect to take care of these items are going to be taking care of it.
Representative Inman for a follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Representative Martin, I think that mischaracterizes the current state of affairs with collective bargaining. Right now, we elect folks in Oklahoma City or Norman. Those folks have a chance to help pick an arbitrator, have a chance to review whatever. They get to put their last best offer in. All the people that that represent us, then if they don't like the outcome, they can take it to our vote, and we have a chance to vote on it and reject it. I don't see how much more power people can have over it unless you're just simply going to neuter our public safety employees and their power.
Question?
Would you agree?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I guess I didn't realize, and I do now, that the local city council can already take care of this situation. So I guess we've got the classic remedying a problem that doesn't exist, or if it exists, we're sure remedying it the wrong way. If the city council in Norman doesn't have the nerve to send it out to a vote of the people, then the citizens of Norman ought to elect new city councilors. If the city council in Oklahoma City doesn't have the nerve to elect to send it to a vote of the people, then the city of Oklahoma City ought to elect new city councilors. The ultimate local control. So all this is about giving coverage to members of the city council. And they're not giving you any coverage, are they? So there's no point in changing this at all. Absolutely zero point in changing this. So I'd encourage you to vote against the bill.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal, folks. To say the people of our communities don't have a say is wrong. To say that some third-party person who is unelected forces a decision upon our people is wrong. It's flat wrong. It's not the case. Here's how it works. I elect 5 people to the city council in Oklahoma City, or 8 or 9 or whatever, and then they sit down and negotiate with firefighters and police officers. They negotiate. If they come to an agreement, everybody's happy. If they don't, then both sides put up their last best offer and say, here's what we're willing to settle for. Firefighters and police say, here's what we're willing to settle for. And the arbitrator, who both sides have a chance to pick. It's not like the firefighters say, that's our guy and you don't have a choice. No, both sides have a chance to pick the arbitrator. The people we elect to city council have a chance to pick the arbitrator. Okay, so let's walk through this. We elected them. They're negotiating. If everybody's okay with it, then they go on down the road. They're representing us. If we can't come to a compromise, then our elected officials put out their last best offer. That's people representing us. They get a choice as to who the arbitrator is. The people representing us get to choose who the arbitrator is or have a say in it. And then guess what? If the arbitrator rules against the city and for the firefighters, you know what happens? If you heard my good friend from the other side of the aisle, you would think that if the arbitrator ruled against the city, it's over. Taxes go up, representation is lost, firefighters and police put the screws to the citizens of our cities. That's not what happens. If the arbitrator rules in favor of the firefighters or police officers, guess what happens? The city gets to look at that arbitrator and say, we don't like it. We're going to put it to a vote of who? Some neutral, third-party, unelected arbitrator? No, the people of that city. There are so many checks in this process, it's unreal. And guess what? If the arbitrator, the neutral, third-party arbitrator selected by both sides, if that arbitrator rules against police and fire, guess what happens? Do the firefighters and police officers have a chance to take it to a vote of the people? No. They lose. Do you understand? They flat lose. That's how it works. So our city councils get a say. They get a say in the contract negotiations. They get a say in the arbitrator. If they don't like what the arbitrator says, they get to put it to a vote of the people, and then we all get to decide. If you all had the statistics of how many of these cases actually go to a vote of the people, it's unbelievable. It's a little more than 50% in which the firefighters and police officers win these votes. It's basically 50-50. Maybe tilted a little towards the firefighters and police officers when it actually goes to a vote. But there's no rampant abuse here. There's no situation in which firefighters and police officers are forcing us to raise our taxes and causing all of these folks to spend more money, and there's no say in it at all. That's not happening. There's no taxation without representation going on. You know what this is? This is another attack on the people who we hire to protect us. I've stated it over and over again, but this is another example of why this legislative session is the darkest in our state's history. Never before have so many public employees had their rights put on the chopping block all at once. And why are we even jeopardizing collective bargaining rights for our police and fire? Why? The argument that was proposed was because the people don't have a say in it. I hope after my 5-minute dissertation on how the process works, you all realize the people do not only have a say in it, but have overwhelmingly more power than the police and firefighters. That's how the process works. All this is an attack on police and firefighter unions. It's a shot at them. And as my good friend from Oklahoma City pointed out, Representative Reynolds, what may happen is you've got city councils who don't have the backbone to take it to a vote of the people. Because you know what? I don't know about you guys, but where I grew up, I love the city council. I love all the members on the council. But most of them, when they got elected, there were maybe 200 votes. 200 votes. That's how they got elected. Maybe 200 votes. I got one council member that won with 104 votes. His opponent got 100. Not an overwhelming majority there. Those folks who sit on the council today with only 104 votes putting them there are really understanding of the fact that police and fire are overwhelmingly supported by the people in our communities. Folks like Representative Joyner, who put his life on the line to run into burning buildings as a career in Midwest City, they would support Representative Joyner more than likely over the people of that, over the city council members. And that's what they know, and that's the reason they don't have the backbone to take it to a vote of the people. So you know what they want to do? Instead of letting the people decide whether the police and firefighters ought to have a fair shake in the arbitration process, they want to eliminate the authority that the police and firefighters have. This vote, do you realize what it does? This vote essentially ensures that the people of our communities will never vote again on a bargaining agreement for our police and fire. So in reality, it does just the opposite of what you think it does. When only a handful of our constituents vote for city council, Those are the only people who have a say in whether that arbitration agreement is agreed upon. Under the current system, everybody has a say. Everybody who may not have voted in that past election, they'll have a voice at the ballot box after that negotiation has completed. But under this plan, there's no need, there's no provision to take it to a vote of the people again. We're actually removing the authority that the people have, all to put a target on the back of police and firefighters, the people who protect us. So please, don't buy into this argument that it's taxation without representation, that somehow the people don't have a say in the process currently, because under this process, they've actually got a larger say than they will under this bill. Under this bill, a handful of city council members who may or may not have had many folks come out and vote for them, they're the ones who will have the carte blanche authority. If they don't like what the firefighters offer, doesn't matter. Stick it to them. They don't have to accept it. And what do the firefighters do? The people who risk their lives to protect us, can they take it to a vote of the people? Can they object under this bill? No. What this does is effectively eliminate any bargaining opportunities for police and fire in Oklahoma. If you and I were in a negotiating setting, and I came to you and I said, here's what I want, but you knew that whatever agreement we came up to would just be advisory and you didn't have to accept it, and I couldn't take it to any higher court or any vote of the people, why in the world would you ever negotiate with me? You would never negotiate with me. That is essentially what this bill does. It not only eliminates collective bargaining, it eliminates negotiating for our police and firefighters with our cities. And that, folks, is wrong. And I've yet to hear a legitimate reason why we need to punish police and fire. So I humbly ask you to vote no.